Today I want to make a video doing a structured rant about Destiny 2 and just the current state of the game, because we're entering that time of the year where it's just a complete content drought. We got a long season ahead of us. There's really no new content on the horizon. The exotic mission just came out, and that was kind of it for this season, beyond just a few more weeks of the story that already got spoiled. And I also got a new face cam, so I figured let's throw myself up in the corner and do a little face-to-face discussion. I'll run some background gameplay, and I'll put timestamps into the discussion if you want to try and skip around and find stuff that you are more passionate about. Because first I'm going to talk about PvP, which people might not be interested in, so skip to the end toward my PvE section when I get to that, because I do want to talk about that as well, even though I don't typically upload videos on PvE at all. So with that aside, I want to get into the Crucible section of this video. And to start off, I want to address the actual Crucible playlist and how it's set up currently as of this season. Currently, there's way too many game modes. They're dividing the player base that is already dwindling rapidly, way too much. They need to compact the Crucible playlist into 4 simple sections: comp, 6v6, rumble, and a party game mode. That's all. Nothing else. Take out the other 2 or 3 things that are there right now. It's too much. There's not enough players, and there's definitely not going to be enough players in a few months. So please, rein it back. Let's just go back to basics here, so there's actually players to matchmake against, especially in the current skill-based matchmaking climate that Bungie is insistent on keeping, that has been ruining the game for the longest time now for the players that actually want to play it. Thanks again for that, Bungie. I'm really glad that skill-based matchmaking is still around, especially once you created a comp playlist that should have siphoned off players that want to play competitively into that, to protect the players that want to play casually, and to also allow those competitive players to come and play casually in the 6v6 playlist. Now there's just never a time to take a break. It's all out, try hard, all the time. Peacekeeper Titans with Cloud Strike on Onion Tempest everywhere you go. Really fun. I'm really enjoying it. Thanks. At least the queue times are really bad though. So that's my really negative take on that. I do not like the state of the Crucible currently. And it's really just a result of too many game modes and a little bit too much skill-based matchmaking in a time where the playlist is dying. Like, even if it was temporarily, change the 6v6 core mode of Clash and Control to be connection-based matchmaking, at least for a little while. This game is going to reach an all-time low, I can guarantee it. We have a 7-month season ahead of us. I don't know what they have cooking up, but it's not going to be enough to resurge the player base before before Final Shape comes out. So please, compact the playlist and get skill-based matchmaking out of my face. There's a reason comp exists. It's for the people that want to compete. I like playing comp. The problem with comp is it exists in Destiny 2, which is largely centered around loot. And someone at Bungie had the bright idea to limit yourself to only getting 1 weapon per character per week in comp. You can get the pulse rifle 3 times. That's it. It's over. No more loot for you. As of this season, you can focus the old weapons now, which is cool. I already have good rolls with the old weapons though. So for the people that didn't, good for them, but that didn't do anything for me. I didn't get anything from that, man. 3 guns per week isn't enough. They have to make them farmable. Even if it's a low drop rate, I don't care. And add in other stuff. Why isn't there a comp memento? Why isn't there a comp memento? Like, I would restate that 20 times if I had to, if that meant, if some Bungie dev was seeing this and was like, oh, we forgot about that. We'll add that in. Where is it? Like, that's so simple to me. Let's say 1 in 10 chance on a win for a comp memento to drop, and it's just some dope looking like dark matter, sick freaking memento. Problem solved. I'm playing comp now. Like, why can't we do that? Who is at Bungie not doing that? Is there just too many Eververse things that have to be made? Like, they just don't have the time? We gotta make this Eververse set. We're sorry, we cannot make that memento right now. The Dawning memento is on the way as well. We don't have the manpower to do this. We got our 2 people working on the map pack. There's 1 guy balancing the sandbox, and we don't have another person to spare to make a memento for comp. Like, I don't know what the state of the game is, but that would be such a simple solution for me. Maybe a couple of secret emblems as well for doing a different set of tasks, difficult things, win 10 matches in a row and you get some dope emblem. It's simple stuff like that that just makes you want to play the comp a little bit more. Gets more of those sweaty players out of 6v6 to protect the people that aren't good at the game, because that's like been their main goal, it seems, for the past like 3 or 4 years, is just protecting the people that suck at the game and don't even like to play Crucible, which is a really smart philosophy when you think about it, because Crucible isn't monetized. So why not make it widely available to people who won't play it, instead of the people that will play it and will pay money for skins and stuff. I disagree with them completely on their philosophy for Crucible, if you can't tell, but that would be my proposal. Reduce the Crucible playlist, the amount of game modes offered. Add in some incentives to play comp to protect people that want to play 6v6, and then make 6v6 connection-based matchmaking. Bing, bang, boom. So that's my changes for the current Crucible playlist setup, but I have much more I want to get into now regarding the meta and other things, so let's get into that. The next thing I want to get into is Checkmate. I'm just going to talk about this briefly. I'm actually not a huge fan of the game mode. I think the TTK shifts are terrible. It makes hand cannons way too good, which I never thought I'd be saying that because I love using hand cannons, but it's too much. The hand cannons are just the clear option in that game mode. It's kind of boring. It just leads to a bunch of team shotting. Feels a lot like D2 year 1, so I don't want them to go in that direction with the time to kill, and I don't think they're going to. But even with the abilities and special ammo economy, there's some stuff I'd like to see change there as well. The blanket ability regen nerfs are not good. They're too slow. You just don't get abilities up often enough for this game to even feel like you're playing Destiny anymore. So I'd like to see those tweaked, and I'm sure they will. So that's fine as well for now. Special ammo is very fixable though. I think it takes too long to get the special ammo drops. And then you get too much ammo. So it takes like a bunch of kills to get your sniper ammo shipment. But you get 4 shots. Make it way shorter and you only get 2. Like have it and get 2. I like more frequency of getting special ammo, but getting less of it, so you have to be smart with it. That would be my take, because it feels like in Checkmate you'll find the guy that got his special. He's using a sniper. You bait out like 1 sniper shot, 2 sniper shots, and he just keeps going. He'll just unload all 4 on you until he kills you. So that just makes your particular experience in that gunfight terrible, because he has a ton of special ammo, because that's just how it drops for him. I'm not a huge fan of it. So those would be the little changes I'd like to see. Overall, I'd actually prefer Checkmate over normal control, I think, because at least there is gunplay there. Normal control feels like there's too much abilities, too much nonsense. So they need to find a middle ground, basically. The next thing I want to talk about is the Crucible meta itself, because I think it contributes to Checkmate not reaching its full potential. Because even in normal Crucible, actual primary gunfights that do go down are very much stand still, get a little strafe going maybe, and just lane. It's all laning. When you're out of cover, you're screwed in this game now. You can't jump. You can't really do anything to try and avoid enemy abilities that doesn't put you at a disadvantage ever since the AE system got implemented. So what they could do is improve the AE system. I know it's crazy. That's a wild thing. Oh, if they make it easier to shoot in the air, then you could jump in the air and, you know, more stuff would happen. There'd be more action in the game. I know it's far-fetched, but that's what would happen. So they could do that. One way to do it, add in AE mods on the legs. Currently you have targeting, dexterities, loaders, and unflinching. Those are all the mods for the helmet, arms, and chest piece. And then the legs are just nothing. They're like orb mods and surges. Let's throw AE mods on the legs. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And it even makes sense because, you know, you jump with your legs. There you go. Problem solved. Boom. Make them like 10 AE, maybe 5. Well, no, you do 10 for the first mod, 5 for the next 2 that you put on. So maximum of 20, and just have them be like Solar Icarus, Void Icarus, you know. Boom. Now your primary weapon can actually be a little bit better. So that's my take there regarding the AE system. Another minor thing I'd like to see is more hipfire options in the game. Hipfiring is fun. It's part of Bungie's identity as a company. They had Halo before Destiny that was all about hipfiring. Only really the text mechanical weapons have like a hipfire identity in this game, and like some of those weapons added in the 30th anniversary pack, like the Battler. And it's kind of sad. I think there should be more stuff, more perks that allow you to hipfire better, more frames added to different archetypes of weapons, more hipfire frames, like a hipfire hand cannon frame. They did say that they're going to add in more frames in Final Shape. I hope that some of them are hipfire oriented and more fun PvP oriented stuff, and not just goofy stuff for PvE. I don't want PvE getting all the goods. But that's kind of my take on the sandbox. It's simple. Just improve the systems. They don't need to change TTKs or balance too many things. Just start with the systems. Allow people to move around more and outplay each other. It changes the whole game just by doing that. The next thing I want to address is maps. We have 3 new maps coming out in a map pack, and we've already gotten 3 over the past 4 fall DLCs. That's really not a good precedent to set. In my opinion, we should have had 2 come out in Shadowkeep, 2 in Beyond Light, 2 in Witch Queen, 2 in Lightfall. Instead, we got Fragment in Shadowkeep, nothing in Beyond Light, Disjunction during the Year of the Witch Queen, and Multiplex during the Year of Lightfall. Now 3 more, 6 total versus what should have been 8. And 2 of the 3 we got already, Disjunction and Multiplex, are way too big and really not that fun to play on. So that's just an epic fail. Like, I don't know if I'm even looking forward to these 3 maps. I don't trust their ability to even make good ones. They did say that they're aiming for the size of Javelin 4 for these maps, which is better than what they were doing with Disjunction and Multiplex already. But if they can't handle making new maps, rework the ones we already have. Like, rework Disjunction. Go and fix them. To me, that should be easier than making new ones from the ground up, or even rebuilding old ones from the ground up from Destiny 1. Like, shouldn't it be easier to go into the maps you already have built for this game and just tweak stuff, add more cover, change geometry here and there, shrink areas here and there? It would yield the same result of having a new map, in that it would bring a breath of fresh air into the Crucible, make a map that used to suck good. That's just my take on that. I feel like make it easier for yourselves, but like try and do something. Yeah, do something. Hopefully these 3 new maps are good though. So we'll just take what we get for now, but I feel like reworking maps could be a good direction to take in the future because there's already so many maps in the game. So that's my take on that. I want to go to the next thing though. For this next part, I just want to address the remaining things I have on my list here for the Crucible. Starting off, I think there's too many exotics that lack the stats to compete in the meta. Examples would be Monte Carlo, Huckleberry, Manticore, Bad Juju, Tommy's Matchbook, Risk Runner, the list goes on. They all have really bad range, really bad like handling, reload stability, just they don't compete with their legendary counterparts. And I think that buffing their stats a little bit would be good for the game because they're fun in practice. You know, the exotic concepts behind them are fun, but they're just not competitive. And not everything needs to be meta, not everything needs to be super competitive, but they're, I think, at a level where they just do not warrant using at all because their stats are just that bad. They're just outperformed too much. You barely ever see those things that I just said. You might have even forgotten about some of them. So buffing them would be nice. I want more substitutes for standard class abilities as well. Rift and Barricade are boring. They slow down the game to a screeching halt, especially in Trials when now it's just always zone capture. It's terrible. I want more stuff like Phoenix Dive and Thrusters in the game. Single pop supers have gotten really annoying. Well and Bubble just got nerfed, but I think all the single pop supers are kind of an issue. And it's a tough issue to address because roaming supers can very quickly become a problem in 6v6 because you just have too many of them going on at the same time and it just feels like there's always a super up because they last so long. But in Trials of Osiris, I'd prefer a roaming super to be popped than to know that an opponent has like a Nova Bomb or a Blade Barrage. You have such a short window to defeat those supers and they still kill you and can very much kill your entire team if you're trying to play the zone. And I don't like playing around that dynamic of single pop supers and now everyone gets them faster than the roaming supers. I don't think it's very good for the game in Trials. It's a really tough one to balance though, so I don't really know what they do with that, but that's just a current gripe I have with the super energy economy. I also just miss a lot of the old neutral game abilities. Flawless Executioner, Heart of the Pack, Arc Web, Electrostatic Surge. That was the one where like you got your rift back faster if you're standing near allies and your rift lasted longer when you were standing in it. Little stuff like that could come back as fragments or aspects, and I don't think it would really be a big deal. It would just add more variety. I don't think the 3.0 subclasses have enough variety. It's usually just put on any of the clear outlier fragments that are the best for PvP and then put on stat benefiting ones. And usually there's like 2 aspects per class that are like the clear options for PvP. Like you don't see people using a lot of off meta stuff regarding, you know, the subclass 3.0s. So throwing in more fragments, more aspects, more variety would be really cool. And pulling from those old subclass trees I think would be a good idea because there's some really good stuff that got left out that still could come back. Also, there's no weapon crafting in PvP. This is a random one, but I just kind of like realized there really is no way to curb your RNG in PvP. You're just screwed. All the guns are like, or at least in Crucible, all the ritual weapons have like 12 perks per column. It takes forever to get a god roll of them. I think more crafting should be brought to PvP to ease the RNG burden that you have to undergo. It's not like the weapons are anything too crazy. Trials has great stuff, but Iron Banner and Crucible, the weapons are trash. Like they're not that good. There's no like thing that's like, oh my god, I need to get this. So why not add in crafting? Because crafting, not only does it curb the RNG, it makes the guns better. Being able to enhance perks and pick the exact god roll you want and then get the enhanced masterwork, the gun's going to end up better than what you could have got, regardless of if you got the god roll of it not during an RNG grind. So seeing more of that would be good. There's no source of artifice armor in PvP. There's really no source of artifice armor anywhere outside of dungeons, which is weird to me. I think master raids and maybe like comp or trials should get some artifice armor thrown into them. And I know they need to monetize it because they need money. You know, that's why they're all locked behind dungeons and the dungeon pass. But let's see it added elsewhere, I think. I think it's time because it's really important. And I think a lot of players miss out on it because they either don't have the dungeons or don't have a team they can put together to do them and don't want to. So seeing it in Crucible, I think would be a good thing. And then the last few things I want to talk about Crucible are just like a few exotics that just, they really piss me off that they're not better. Astrocyte Verse and Blink in general, Last Word Stompies, and Seal the Humpcar Grasps. These are like the 4 things that I just want improved. I don't know why. Stompies, I just want to go back to its original state. And if they don't want to do that, if they really want to keep it with this boost that's slower, at least give it like a plus 15 airborne effectiveness improvement to all weapons. Why is it so crazy that the thing that's encouraging you to jump in the air would improve your AE? All the other ones do. Lion Rampants does. Wings of Sacred Dawn does. Like when you're Astrocyte Verse does. Like when you're supposed to be going in the air with the exotic, they usually improve your airborne effectiveness, but Stompy's doesn't. They have like this irrational fear of that exotic for some reason. Let it buff AE. Do it. Like just freaking do it. See what happens. Blink, you take way too long to get your weapons out. It's trash. I want to be able to be more aggressive with Blink. Not to the point where it's broken, but I think people can handle someone blinking at them more than they could in Destiny 1 when the game was 30 FPS and ran like poop in Crucible. Like it was really hard to keep track of people blinking. It shouldn't be that way anymore. So buff Blink, buff Astrocyte Verse. They finally got around to its slide glitch, which was awesome, and it's a lot more fun to use now, but take it a step further and let people ready their weapons quicker out of Blink. Like I'm thinking like 0.1 to 0.2 seconds faster. Nothing drastic, but just like it's like this marginal amount, and uses this marginal improvement to really be viable. Last word, sucks on PC, and it just breaks my heart. Or not PC, mouse and keyboard, and it breaks my heart. I want to use that gun so bad, but you can't. So whatever they need to do to make that good on mouse and keyboard, whether that be improving its accuracy and stuff, or doing what I said in my previous video where you allow its ADS damage to be 68 again, but reduce its rate of fire when ADS, so give it the Deadman Seal treatment. If they could do that, that'd be great. But do something. And Seal to Hamkar Grasp, this is a fringe one. But the rework they did to this was awesome. When you hit people with your melee, you get 5 seconds of improved movement. And it's like Stompy's movement, but it's for 5 seconds. Change that to like 15. Like make it like a 15-second movement boost after you hit someone with a throwing knife and you're just jumping around. Like that'd be fun. Let that thing be good. That'd be really cool. But I want to move on to the PvE section next. So that's it for Crucible. Let me know what you think about that crap in the comments. That was a lot of stuff. This is a yapping session. Hopefully I edited it down pretty short, but let's go to PvE. To wrap up, I want to briefly talk about PvE, which I'm less qualified to talk about. I play PvP a lot more, but I still want to talk about it. And I've been playing a few single-player games on PS5, God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring to be specific, as well as Remnant 2 on PC. And I think there's certain elements of those games, more specifically the boss variety, that needs to be implemented into Destiny 2. They need to take inspiration from how those games deliver boss fight experiences and bring it to Destiny. Destiny bosses currently are usually just a very large version of an enemy we've already fought that has a bigger health bar. And we have been fighting these enemies for far too long. Cabal, Hive, Fallen, Vex. Those are the 4 enemy races we've had and a few reskins of them over the past decade. We need a new enemy race, multiple new enemy races, and multiple new bosses. In my ideal world, every single strike in this game would end with a unique boss fight. Like a boss that doesn't exist anywhere else in the game and has some type of unique move set. It's far-fetched. It's so far-fetched. It would never happen, but that's just like my ideal version of Destiny 2. I think that would make the strike experience way more fun. Every strike boss should be dropping unique loot, so you're just farming different strikes, doing these fun boss fights that escalate in difficulty depending on what difficulty level you're playing at. The boss has more moves, does them faster, is more punishing. Obviously, you're restricted in the fact that Destiny 2 doesn't have any sort of iframes or anything. There's no dodging and dodging like attacks. But if they could somehow get that in this game and just combine the two genres of, you know, Souls-like combat with Destiny 2, that'd be so fun. That's basically what Remnant 2 is. And I'd love to see like a lot of inspiration taken from that game and brought into Destiny 2, because I think the whole idea of just putting a well down and shooting the meta DPS weapon at a giant version of an enemy we've already been fighting for 10 years has gotten really old. Like it's about time we reinvented the wheel here. So that'd be my way to do it. Pretty wild take, but in the meantime, more realistically, they could take champions out of the game and replace them with Lucent Hive, you know, those Nezarec dudes, whatever the hell they're, Tormentors. I don't know why they even added those guys in if they're not going to put them in the game in more areas. It's like they're just like part of those campaigns. It's really weird. Champions are so annoying to fight. They're just this lock and key. Well, what's in the seasonal artifact? Oh, we have to use sidearms to break barriers this season? Okay. It's lame as hell. Just put in a challenging enemy in place of them that spices up the combat and makes things more difficult, not just restricts your loadout. Champions suck. I want them out of the game as soon as possible. That would be a great change to start. Then start adding in boss variety. And the whole reason for this, loot is, it's just over time going to become less and less of a driving force for playing the game. They can't innovate infinitely on the loot, and that's what they've been doing for 10 years. Innovate on the enemy variety, make the game just more fun to play, make the enemies more fun to fight. when you do that, it changes what guns you use against said enemies. Like, you can have different metas for different raids, for different dungeons. We already do have that to a degree, but you could have it way more if you increase the enemy variety. So they need to get to work on that. I don't think they ever will, but in my opinion, that's what they need to do to actually make this game have its full realized potential. Really lean into the creativeness of their bosses. We have like DPS checks. I've always had an idea for like a boss encounter in a raid where the boss is literally just like a giant blob that's blocking the doorway that you need to get through. So you go through the mechanics to activate the DPS phase, and then you're literally just trying to break this dude down and get him out of the way. Like, why not lean into the aspect of the game? Like, you have a DPS check that's just straight up trying to break something that's in your way. I know that's crazy, I know that's stupid, but at least that's different than just shooting at a giant ogre or a giant abomination. So as far as PvE goes, get creative. Like, just get creative. That's like the worst thing you could say to a company like Bungie. That's just like a nightmare. Like, oh, what? We have to innovate? No, get away from me. That's probably the reaction after seeing this, but they're not seeing this. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. I'm just gonna wrap it up right there. Short and concise, even though this is probably gonna be like a half an hour plus long. I really had much more to say about PvP, if you couldn't tell, but let me know what you think about these PvE takes. They're minor, but I think if those very few things were implemented, even though there's few things I just said, they're massive in scale. If they were implemented, this game would be my favorite game of all time. But it's just not at the moment. And yeah, that's it for the video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you're even here at the end, there's gonna be like 20 people that see this. No one ever watches my discussion videos, even though I have some quality stuff in here, some quality material. That's it though. See ya.